Could you talk a little bit about how the nervous system and mental health or emotional well-being, if you will, tend to use those terms interchangeably? How do those things relate? What does the nervous system have to do with how healthy we are on the mental health side?
Yeah, our emotional well-being is going to be really directly connected in many ways to whether our nervous system is kind of in a optimal patterning for well-being, or whether it's gotten set up in a way that's prioritizing more protective strategies. And so our nervous system, I'll kind of review some of what we talked about last time, is broken down into three different parts. And so there is I guess maybe one of the most familiar parts of the nervous system for a lot of people is the fight or flight part of the nervous system, which is known as the sympathetic nervous system. And it is going to read when our nervous system reads something as a threat, it's going to be responding in a way that's getting us ready for protecting ourselves. And it's going to protect ourselves through those fight, flight, freeze, and kind of fawn patterns. And then when that, or if that part of our nervous system doesn't accomplish what it needs to, our system will then drop into what is called a dorsal state. And so if you think of animals in the wild, if they are under threat, they're going to do their fight, flight patterns typically first. And then if that doesn't work, they're going to drop and play dead. And so our nervous systems function the same way, where if the fight flight energies don't do what they need to for me, then I will drop into a more collapsed state and essentially be kind of playing dead. And then the third part of the nervous system is called the ventral vagal part of the system. And that is the part of our system where we do experience that rest and digest state that I was mentioning earlier. And it's the part of the system where I get to prioritize, being connected to other people, being connected to myself, maybe noticing my deeper passions, dreams, the things I care about, having fun, having just enjoying life. And so those are the things that are going to happen in the ventral part of the nervous system. So coming back to your question about what does all of that have to do with emotional health, that there are a lot of people who, maybe grow up in less than optimal environments in terms of experiences or contexts that prioritize safety in the nervous system versus if my system is in environments where it just isn't always safe, I'm going to prioritize protective patterns. So my nervous system is going to get more accustomed to traveling parts of the nervous system like the fight and flight or the dorsal states of collapsed. And so said another way, in the world of emotional well-being, I'm experiencing a lot more anxiety because I'm
Mhm.
on edge more often. And that's all by design, right? So if I'm living in a context where I need to be pretty alert and aware in order to stay safe, that has a functional purpose to it. It's doing me a huge favor. It's not a problem. It's really a benefit to me. So my nervous system is always trying to operate in my best interest. But then there are times where we might be in an environment where my nervous system has been patterned and it prioritizes those protective states. Then maybe my context shifts. And that's no longer necessary for me to be living in those protective states anymore. But my nervous system is set up to be running in pretty high anxiety a good chunk of the time. And that anxiety, again, is more, if we think of it in these terms, it's more of those fight, flight type of energies that are just there trying to take care of me. So it's not uncommon for people to end up having, what we're diagnosing as mental health conditions that are really related to these patterns that have been established in their system for really really good purposes at one point in time, but are maybe needing some repatterning work now that they're in a new